Hey, what's up everyone? Thanks for checking out the video today. I'm going to do a quick review or just walk through on this new Makita circular saw I just picked up. This is their model XSH08, and so looking at it, it looks kind of like one of their normal 7¼ inch cordless saws, but what makes this one unique above, I think above all the other saws they make, as well as all other manufacturers of cordless saws, is that the base they put on here is compatible with the track. So you can use this as a track saw as well as just kind of your general purpose construction saw for any type of project. So I think having that's what really drew me to this saw, is having that track compatible base makes this kind of, in my opinion, from shopping around the market, probably about, for what I do, the best saw I could get, rather than having to have different track saw, different construction saw. This packs it all into one package, and I'm also obviously just already on the Makita battery platform, so it made sense to go this route anyways. But having that track compatible base, I think, is a great feature, and kind of makes this, to me, the number one cordless saw out there for like around the 7¼ inch size. So I'll talk through a few of the different specs on it and details that at least stand out to me. I just pulled it out of the box, and then in a follow-up video I'll probably do some actual cuts with it on some different boards, as well as with the actual track. So I picked up with this the 55-inch guide rail track, and so I'll also test that out. You can see here, this is your groove or slot in the magnesium base here that accepts it onto the track saw, and then within that it has these two knobs here which adjust your like tension in the track and how snug to kind of take up some of your tolerance. And then it also has this clip here which you can clip over, and this disc on the bottom, once you seat it down into your track, you can snap that over, and that kind of locks it into place so it doesn't pop up out of the track. So track saw wise, that's kind of what it does there, and that's, I think, what, like I said, makes this saw very unique. This is on the Makita 18 volt times 2 or 36 volt platform here, so you're using just two of your standard Makita batteries. I was initially kind of skeptical on this idea of using two batteries, the times 2 platform. This is my first Makita tool that I've gotten that has that. All my other ones are just single battery. For example, my smaller circular saw, this is my older one. This is just a smaller subcompact 6½ inch, and that runs just on a single 18 volt battery. But I was looking to step up to something a little bit bigger and more powerful, for some other things I've been working on. And when you do that on the Makita line, they kind of automatically go to the times 2 battery platform. So you can see here, one snaps in, and then you got your second one there as well. So like I said, I was a little bit skeptical on this, but just after pulling it out of the box, playing around with it and kind of comparing it to some other saws, I'm actually kind of, I guess, won over on this a bit. I like the way this is packaged in here, and actually just looking at it, everything kind of still fits within the general like package space of the saw, and all this battery weight is nice and right under your handle here and tucked in snug with your motor. So I think even compared to some other saws that have, most other saws kind of have your battery pack like sitting on the back out here, and they actually stick out further than this does with two batteries, as well as you have to use like a much larger battery pack than this. So while other brands like maybe DeWalt or Milwaukee, you're only using one battery, the battery you're going to be using to power a saw like this is going to be much larger than this Makita pack. And having that snapped on the back, it actually kind of stands out there and sticks out quite a bit more than this having two batteries. So I think on the surface, like two batteries, that's too much, but I think think just the way this is packaged in here, this is actually quite a nice saw with that, and I think I'm happy with that. It does have 2 battery meters on here. You can push the button here, it'll show you the charge with 3 bars on each, so that's fully charged. The base on it is going to be fully magnesium with the track compatible slot. You're also going to have the nice magnesium or metal blade case here, brushless motor with electronic brake. It's going to come with a 7¼ inch Makita max efficiency blade, and supposedly these are supposed to be really good blades compared to the rest of the market. You're also going to have a nice button up here, nice and accessible for locking out your blade for doing blade changes. And then on board on the back here you have your Allen wrench that stores nicely right here and snaps in nice like that. So you pull that Allen wrench out and that pulls your blade off there, and you can hold the blade, like I said, with the button there. So that's a pretty nice integration there. On the back here, kind of like a standard saw, you're going to have this lever you lift up, and that allows you to change the depth on your base for how deep you want to cut with your blade. And just like I said, initially playing with this and just pulled it out of the box, the way it feels with everything, how everything functions, and the quality of this just feels like this is a very well built and very quality saw. There's nothing like loose, nothing rattling, everything, nothing kind of like grinding or rough feeling when anything functions on this. Like the way this moves is super smooth. Like I haven't felt it quite like that on a lot of other saws that I've had or used. So just the quality of that feels really nice. That also carries over into your angle adjustment. So you've got a knob you loosen up front here, and then you also have one on the back side, which I feel like not all saws have one on the back, but I kind of like it for this because since this is a track compatible base, we're doing some guide rail cuts, and you might be doing some more precision cuts with that versus like some just cutting lumber. Having the lock on the front and the lock on the back here, I feel like gets your base really locked in and stable, whereas with only one on the front, it could have a little bit more play to it. So like when you lock both these in, kind of along the lines of what I was saying with the quality feel of it, once you lock those two in, that base is like very snug and doesn't move. And then when you do loosen them up, same thing as the depth adjustment, the way this is all machined and fits, this just like feels buttery smooth and super quality and like very, I guess, like precision. It's hard to explain like over video, but you almost have to hold it and play with this to feel it in how quality it feels. Then up front you've got your angle adjustments or gauge here, 0 to 45 degrees with a nice little adjustable orange tip here for lining it up. And then you've got a positive stop at 45 degrees. If you switch this lever on the front here up, that lets you go just past 45 degrees. I think it might be like 48 degrees or something. And then you can switch that back down, and that gives you a positive stop back at 45. And it's a nice positive stop. It stops right there, dead on, and then same thing back to here. It stops dead on 0 degree right out of the box, no adjustments. And then just lock it back down with both the screw knobs on the front and back. Does come with the box, dust port to screw on here so you can do vacuum attachments. Same thing like I have here on my smaller subcompact, it's the same exact one. So if you have, obviously you have one vacuum with one adapter attachment here, it's going to work between your different Makita tools. I think that's really most of the different points on it. Just wanted to do a quick overview on my thoughts on it, just pulling it out of the box and first looks. You do have Also, I did miss, there's the dual LED inside of here that shines your blade nice here. So that's a nice feature to have. I think that's kind of standard across most circular saws now, at least cordless ones. One thing it doesn't have out of the box is a rafter hook, but it does come with provisions for mounting one. I might get one. I thought about it a while back for my smaller subcompact. It has the same provisions here, and honestly, in the couple of years of owning this one, I've never had the need for that. So I think it's a neat feature to come with. I know some other manufacturer saws do, but honestly, I don't know how many people, at least definitely not myself, really actually use that rafter hook. I'm not in construction, it's more home projects and different woodworking projects in my garage, so maybe that's why I don't use it. But if you are someone that does, you can certainly buy. I think it's a pretty affordable aftermarket little piece, or Makita sells it, but aftermarket piece to mount on there. So I think when I do my next video, I'll be running it with, I've got two 6 amps. Could also run with 5 amps obviously, and really any other battery on the Makita platform. So if you actually weren't looking for max runtime or max power, you could also just throw a couple 2 amps on there for a little bit lighter weight. But honestly, even with these 6 amps, which this 6 amp is the largest amperage battery Makita makes, popping both of those on there, I talked about how like nice they're packaged into this under your handle, and compact with the saw really overall. The weight wise really isn't bad. I mean, coming from, I originally had the subcompact model here. This is super light, like no problem working around different things, but it just doesn't have the power for some of the projects I was working on, or that I desired anyways. So stepping up to this, it's definitely a beefier saw overall, but I think kind of the preconceived notion that I had, and probably a lot of people have, is that having 2 batteries in the Makita X2 system is like, oh, it's going to be huge, it's going to be really heavy, bulky, and it's not the case. Like, I think the weight on this, I don't have the exact specs, but if you compare the weight on this with batteries compared to maybe like a Milwaukee 7¼ inch circular saw with like a larger 8 amp battery, I think the weights are actually very similar, and this might actually be a little bit lower on the weight. So I think the way they package this in there, it's actually a really nice system overall. And I'll show I'll power it up real quick just to show the LED light in here, and then I'll also just demonstrate like how the electric brake works. So you'll be able to see the LEDs right inside here, and they'll shine over to the blade. So you can see how bright they are. They do shine that area really well. And then I'll just power it up and then release the trigger, and we'll see how fast the blade stops with the brake. So I think electric brake is a great safety feature. I think almost all tools really should have it, and it seems to work really good on this one with the quick reaction time and quick slow down or ramp down. So I think that's really kind of everything on this saw. Might have missed a couple of things. Maybe like it just has your gauge here on the back of the case here. So as you're doing your depth adjustment for your plate, you can use a little depth adjustment here that's going to tell you how deep your blade's cutting. I think, like I said, that's really everything. I wanted to kind of walk through my initial thoughts on it and impression, and I'll do a follow-up video of actually cutting some lumber, as well as maybe using the track for it. I've got the 55-inch guide rail, and kind of walk through with that. But appreciate anyone that took the time to watch the video. I got a few more Makita tools and different things that I'm working on in the garage, so I'm going to try to do a couple other reviews as well. So like I said, I appreciate anyone taking the time to watch these videos, and take it easy. Thank you.